But let's go ahead and talk about why we get cold this time of the year. And of course, it has to do with the sun, it has to do with the Earth's tilt, it has to do with the Earth's orbit around the sun. But one of the biggest factors is meteorological winter starts. Of course, that means it's going to get colder. And you hear me talk about meteorological winter quite often. That is the month of December, January, and February. Now, that is not astronomical winter. That doesn't start. We've got a few weeks here before we get into that. And that is when the solstice takes shape. But our day length tends to get shorter this time of the year. And it has to do with the fact that the Earth is on a tilt. It's on its axis, 23.5 degrees. And as it orbits around the sun, it'll cast that shadow a little bit longer across the Earth. And of course, we get shorter day length into the northern hemisphere this time of the year. Of course, the reverse is in the summertime, and we'll talk about that. Astronomical winter, that is officially on the calendar, the first day of winter. That is the winter solstice. And this year, that is on December 21st. It fluctuates a little bit. Now, on December 21st, we will have 9 hours and 12 minutes of day length from sunrise to sunset. So sun rises at 7:45 on the 21st. It sets at 4:57 rather on December 21st. Now, let's talk about this day length because the shortest day length of the year is 9 hours and 11 minutes. So that's our shortest day. The way this plays out, this actually happens twice this month, and this does have to do with the way the Earth is tilted and where we're sitting on the Earth and our latitude here in eastern Ohio and western Pennsylvania. It doesn't actually occur officially, and we're talking about seconds that change this, on the 21st, the day of the solstice. On December 20th is one of our shortest days, and December 22nd, and that has to do with the way the sun, of course, the Earth orbits the sun. It's not a perfect circle around the sun. It's an elliptical path, and with that, there's a little bit of a change up when it comes to sunrises and sunsets, and then where we are placed on the Earth in the northern hemisphere. So you can get into a lot of physics and mathematics here to talk about that exactly, but here's the bottom line. Our earliest sunset starts from December 6th and lasts through December 9th. Now, you notice that's not on the actual solstice, what we technically can hear a lot of times as the shortest day of the year, and it does have to do with the orbit, the elliptical orbit around the sun. There's a little bit of a lag time with these sunrise and sunsets. But with that being said, we have 4 days officially. This is at the airport, so I went in and looked at the numbers exactly at the airport, the Youngstown Warren Regional Airport, at 4:53. So that's the earliest it happens. Here's the fun fact. This coming weekend, on Sunday evening, that splits that 4:53, those 4 days of 4:53. So come Sunday evening, as the sun is setting, it's the pivot point of the year. And that will mean from that point forward, by fractions of seconds at first, and it'll take some time, slowly but surely, those sunsets will get a little bit longer. I always look forward to this day each year because it's kind of my turning point towards summertime of getting those longer sunsets. Now, the sunrise takes a little bit longer before we get into the latest sunrise. And again, this goes back to the way the Earth orbits the sun and where we're stacked up in the Earth here in our region with the tilt of the Earth. So we have January 1st through January 6th for those latest sunrises, and those are at 7:49. Now, the pivot point and there is January 3rd. So our earliest sunset is coming Sunday evening on the 3rd, or this weekend rather, on the 7th for December. It's the 3rd of January that will feature our latest sunrise of the year through the winter time. So that's kind of the pivot point. If you're an early riser and you're looking for those earlier sunrises, well, you have to wait until January 3rd for that to take shape. Here's the bottom line. Why do we cool in the wintertime? Well, we have less daylight. That means shorter days, which results in less sun. And of course, that means less heat. heat for us. And in turn, what that's going to do is cause longer nights that makes us even colder. So